we're a long way from the finished product. I mean, but some of that's to be expected. Others are disappointed in the way things went. Others are really extremely pleased. That's preseason camp. So, we got to go back and watch the tape and make sure that we do a good job telling ourselves the truth on that part of it and really start to buy into that process, because some days it's not going to go your way on game day, and ultimately you got to fix it. So that's where we're at right now.
Any particular position group that has kind of impressed you so far?
Yeah, but I think there's guys at every position that have flashed, and the key thing is if we can bottle the consistency up from those flash moments, right? We want to try to make that the standard rather than, hey, a guy spikes and have a great play 1 minute and the next play you can't find him. So, just working through the normal camp stuff and trying to make sure we are progressing in the right way.
How do you find that consistency?
Reps. There's no substitute for at bats, right? I mean, you gotta be in the moments. You gotta feel the pressure of the defense. You gotta feel the tempo of the offense. You gotta be out here in front of your fans and kick extra points and kick field goals. You gotta be able to punt the ball when you're backed up in the 3-yard line. You gotta be in pressure situations, and we gotta do the best job we can to try to simulate as much of that as we can.
Talk about Kayvon Sherman. He's someone you brought over from Toledo. What should we expect to see out of him? We saw a little bit today.
Yeah, I think he brings an emotional piece to the game. He's obviously a really good player, statistically, and, accolades postseason last year would reflect that. I just think that, his best football is ahead of him. He's just now scratching the surface on what it could be, so excited to what it's going to look like for him.
You didn't really have an update last week, but is there any update on the quarterback position this week?
No.
Is there any other competition at any position that is intriguing to you?
All of them. All 11 units have some type of battle going on, whether that's a first-team battle, second-team battle. And look, we're still in the middle of installation. Like, you can't. Guys aren't separating themselves until we get second scrimmage under our belt, and really these reps become a common thing, right? And that's part of preseason camp.
How much does it depend on what kind of offense you play as far as different quarterbacks, different skill sets?
Yeah, I think that that separates them. That's going to separate themselves from and you got to do a great job of when you pick a guy and you decide that's who's going to be your guy. You do a great job of putting a scheme around him that fits his abilities. So there's a lot of crossover in what we're asking those guys to do. You don't have to have 3 different offenses. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every week. You got to take a core group of plays in, match what fits him, and then obviously with the defense that you're playing, plan of attack to go play successful.
Obviously, you guys have been at it for a little while now, but what is it about being here at the rank, kind of setting the stage for a few weeks from now?
Obviously a big moment to get out here. I think that first of all, this is the best grass in the country. So be out here to be on the surface, deal with the elements, handle the sun, handle the wind, know where the play clock is, know where the game clock is, and really just some teaching of the arena, right? And finding out, being in the environment. So you don't come over here every single day. You have a couple times in preseason. We got to take advantage of those.
You talked about the physicality of practice today. Was this one of the more physical practices that you guys have had so far?
Yeah, you're limited the amount of days that you can hit, have real football. So today was one of those days, and some guys really handled it well, and other guys didn't. So it's a part of preseason camp.
You talk about John Lista, former Ivy League player, coming here. What do you expect his role to be?
Yeah, I think John is a first of all, he's a very smart guy that understands and plays the game the right way. He plays really hard. He puts pressure on the other team's offense just from the physicality he brings to the table. He's a vet. He's played a lot of football, so there's not a lot of things he hasn't seen from a schematic standpoint, I think. So he's been a big addition for us, and we're looking forward to him to have a great year.
For fans who haven't seen him play, and what should we expect from Kenji this year coming out of the backfield?
Yeah, I think Kenji's he's got the ability to hit the home run. He's one of the guys on the team that if they can score an 80-yard touchdown. And the more of those guys you have on the team, the better. So he can do it from a multitude of different ways. He catches the ball really well in the backfield. We're not going to sit here and claim like we taught him how to run the ball. That's all natural ability. But I think he's really improved in the pass protection part of things, and Coach Cole's done a great job, helping him with that.
What has Shamar brought to the receiver room, just from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah, I think having a vet back in that position that played here last year, all of those guys that, chose to stay here, I think they've added a piece of that leadership to whatever unit they're in. He's a guy that's comfortable in the skin. He knows who he is. He knows what he's really good at. And, we gotta really squeeze every ounce of juice out of the orange, if that makes sense, to get him to play to his potential, because there's a lot in that guy.
Coach, can you talk about your line play so far throughout camp? Obviously, we're able to bring in some really talented
Well, I think the O-line group is a group that's kind of been hit by injuries here the last week, and you got a lot of different guys and a lot of different bodies, and they're individual good players, but much like your fist, those fingers got to come together. They got to be 5 as 1, right? So, sometimes that rhythm is hard to capture when guys are in and out of the lineup. So we got to get some guys healthy there, and we got to make sure that we continue to work on our timing.